Well, today we have a very special guest with us as our keynote speaker, Stephen Davidson, who has a fan club. Stephen is a hero and a rising star with a promising career in public service. He was the 2012 Army Times Soldier of the Year, which is a signal honor. He received the award for saving a fellow service member's life during a desert warfare training course. Today, he serves in the U.S. Department of Energy as the Special Assistant to the Assistant Secretary for Fossil Energy while pursuing graduate studies at Johns Hopkins University. What I think is most special about Stephen is that he is a UNT alumnus. He graduated last year with a bachelor's degree in emergency management and planning. And today, he's here to share his insight about life as a college graduate and how you can and will be a generation of change. I don't think there's anything more powerful or meaningful than to hear from one of our own. Stephen has made us so proud, just like each and every one of you will do. Please join me in welcoming Stephen Davidson to the University of North Texas 2016 Spring Commencement.
Thank you so much. Good morning, and congratulations to the class of 2016. I'm incredibly honored to return to North Texas and share in the culmination of year 4, or 5, or maybe even 6 years of hard work. I'd like to thank President Smatras, Chancellor Jackson, the Board of Regents, the faculty and staff, and most of all, the student body for affording me this opportunity. I graduated from this university in December, so there's little call for me to stand up here and recite for you my rules for success or to pontificate on how you may achieve greatness. No, I'm up here because I was shaped by the people and experiences that challenged me to go the extra mile, to do my best, and to try to leave the world a little better than the place I found it. When I graduated high school, I had no direction in life, no idea where I wanted to go next. Before I ever came to North Texas, I failed out of junior college. And because of this failure, I decided to join the Army to try to get my life together. I returned to Denton after my military training and promptly failed out of junior college again. You know, I wasn't ready for the responsibilities and the rhythm of college, but I also wasn't ready to give up. Before I could even begin to reestablish myself academically, the Army, as it's often known to do, sent me overseas. And while deployed to East Africa, I had the unfortunate opportunity to see countless people struggling to survive. Food, water, and education, all basic needs that I had taken for granted, and that I ended up seeing thousands of people living without in abject poverty. And although I was aware of these people and their hardships before my deployment, I had never quite imagined that it existed at that magnitude. When I returned from East Africa, I was a different person. And with my less than stellar academic records in hand, this university took a chance and accepted my application, allowing me to pursue a degree in emergency administration and planning. Now a student at North Texas and equipped with the lessons learned from my deployment, I was finally able to get into that rhythm of higher education. And in the course of transitioning from military to civilian life, I found that tribulation is not only in troubled nations far away, but that it's often found right here in our own backyard. It was in this discovery that I committed myself to public service and found myself consistently looking for ways to help on a greater scale. It was in this pursuit that pushed me to apply for the White House internship program, and upon being accepted, I had the privilege of working on a portfolio that focused on veteran and military family engagement. It was in this position that I had the remarkable opportunity to work alongside senior staff who offered me my greatest honor, the ability to help men and women who had served our nation but who were still struggling with the difficulties of war. From the White House, I returned to North Texas, and upon graduating, received a political appointment in the U.S. Department of Energy and began pursuing a master's at Johns Hopkins. I tell you all this today to say that the only reason that I'm up here is because at every stage of my life, I was surrounded by people who loved and supported me, people who encouraged me to go the extra mile, and people who challenged me to chase my dreams. So with that, I'd like to take a moment and thank the members of today's audience, the families, the friends, the people who encouraged you, the mentors you had, and quite honestly, the largest reason that you're here today. Thank you, family. Several years ago, you made the decision to come to this university. And since joining this institution, you have been the beneficiaries of 125 years of academic excellence and tradition. Throughout your time on campus, you gained an education. And by sitting in this audience, you have proven your ability to go the distance. And your academic achievement, as we've heard already today, is multiplied. And the fact that you are not simply graduating from the University of North Texas, but from a Tier 1 institution. Which means, as I'm sure many of you are aware by now, that this university is ranked among the top 115 institutions in the United States by the Carnegie Foundation. And this accomplishment is remarkable, and it is a testament to the vision of UNT's leadership, to the hard work of its faculty, to the endless hours of research conducted by our scientists, engineers, to the commitment of our students, and to our alumni who shared in that vision. Today's celebration not only marks the end or the completion of your degree requirements, but also the end of what has been a year-long celebration of this university's 125th anniversary. In 1890, Joshua Chilton founded the Texas Normal College and Teachers Training Institute. And of his newfound educational institution, he said, "It will be our aim to become leaders in the education of young men and women of Texas, fitting them to credibly fill the most important positions in business and professional circles." It is at times like this that I believe Mr. Chilton would be proud and also a little surprised at what his students have accomplished. From a small teacher's college in the attic of a hardware store to one of the largest universities in Texas, the graduates of this university are no longer confined to simply being leaders in education. Instead, they are leaders in any and every field they pursue. But this university's greatness it's not found in its growth or achievements. No, the true source of its greatness is found in the faculty and staff, the administrators, and most of all in the students, who come here to earn a degree and find themselves leaving with much more than just a piece of paper. You're leaving today with an education. And it's those same faculty, staff, and students who have created something more incredible than Mr. Chilton could have ever imagined. You have created a culture of service and improvement, virtually unrivaled across the country. A culture that encourages students to strive to improve the lives of their peers, a culture of community that always works for a better tomorrow, even when today seems good enough. A lot has changed over the past 125 years, and something we can't afford to ignore is that the place which we call home is hurting. Today, in a moment when our sole focus should be on celebrating your academic achievement, we find ourselves lamenting the state of our world. I have no doubt that before you donned your cap and gown and joined us in the stadium, you took a moment and checked the latest post, picture, or tweet, and regardless of what you were searching for, it's easy to speculate that you were met with the most recent clip of political controversy, any number of photos of global tragedies, or comments riddled with aggressive and hurtful rhetoric. At a moment in our history when the people of our nation should be uniting in the face of unprecedented adversity, we find ourselves increasingly divided. The pundits say that this generation is the weakest in American history, that our ascendance into adulthood marks the end of American exceptionalism, that we are undeserving of the legacy that has been left to us. But I challenge them to define that legacy. What I implore these talking heads to realize is that the students graduating today, this weakest generation, are the same men and women whose first historic memory wasn't man's first step on the moon or the collapse of tyranny oppression, but the tragedies of September 11th. They are the same men and women who, as boys and girls, found themselves as refugees in their own nation following the hurricanes Katrina and Rita. They are the ones who saw their parents lose their jobs during the Great Recession, the ones who watched their friends move away after losing their homes, and the ones who worried as their loved ones went abroad during a decade of war. With this, it seemed that the light from the bright city on the hill had dimmed, that the period of American exceptionalism had actually ended. But I believe that those who say that have forgotten what American exceptionalism truly is. This exceptionalism is rooted in the American dream, and this dream is not the stereotype of a house in the suburbs with a white picket fence, 2 kids, and a dog. No, the American dream is the dream of improvement. The simple idea that you can do better, and that the tireless pursuit of that end will not only improve yourself, but your community, your nation, and your world. I hated to start off this speech by exploring 15 years of hardship and turmoil. But if you believe, as I do, that you are a product of your experiences, then you must also agree that the world you grew up in has laid a strong foundation for your future. And this foundation is not simply defined by what you witnessed in your youth, but is also supported by the reality that you, the graduating class of 2016, pursued your education between jobs. You are veterans and military families who tended to your schoolwork despite deployments. You are firefighters, police officers, and paramedics who worked on papers between crises. You are mothers and fathers who balance the needs of your education while also taking care of your families. And for those of you who had the ability and wherewithal to focus your sole attention on your education, you found yourself surrounded, as you do today, by an intangible amount of life experience. This reality means that the graduates of this university are not simply receiving an education of academic theory, but one grounded in the real world. So to those who say that this generation marks the end of American exceptionalism, I contend that you constitute its revival. For far too long, we have allowed the narrative to be nostalgic, always looking back and talking about how great we were and how strong we once were, that we seem to have forgotten how strong we still are and can be. We have been forced to overlook that our greatness isn't found in our natural resources, our cities, or our industries, but that it's uniquely defined by the hearts of our people. And it's because of your foundation that when you face a problem, you will not look wistfully to yesterday for a time when it didn't exist, but you will apply the lessons learned from your past and from your time at North Texas to solve today's problems and build a better tomorrow. Many hearken back to the days of the greatest generation, who made us the greatest nation on earth. But what made this greatest generation the greatest was not a resistance to change or fear in the face of adversity. It was the hardships they overcame, the evils they defeated, their unwavering commitment to conquer any obstacle. In a different time, with new evils and new obstacles, you find yourself poised to make a difference as they did, to remind the world why the United States is the greatest country on earth. But we cannot do this by allowing people to drag us into an era long past. And as these people inevitably attempt to recreate a world before these problems existed, they will find themselves left behind in the world that you are creating. Our 42nd president once said, "The future is not an inheritance. It is an opportunity and an obligation." And I submit to you that no group of individuals is better equipped to pursue that opportunity and meet that obligation than you who are here today. So to the challenges you'll face, to the difficulties that will threaten our prosperity, to the hatred and bigotry that will seek to find a home in our national discourse, to anything that will try to divide us and everything the world will throw at us, I say, bring it on, because you're ready. Thank you.